Hi there, it's Wade McMaster here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can actually install and use the free Facebook header image photos that I have up for download on creatorimpact.com. Now, this video, the way it works is if you've already signed up, then this will just be a video showing you how you can actually use these and get them ready for your web Facebook page. Or if you haven't actually signed up for my newsletter, then I'll pop a link. There is one in the description below. You can head down there, head to the link, sign up, and get access to these three free Facebook header cover images. So basically, the way it works is we're going to download, it's going to be a zip file you're going to download off the website, and you're going to get this here. Now, I'm using WinRAR, but depending on what program you use, usually you should be able to right-click and extract these files. So I'm going to right-click, extract the files, and say extract here. And we could basically go from there. Now, what I've got here, I've got a Photoshop file, and I've got the fonts that come with it. These are free fonts from Google Fonts that I've actually used as part of the template. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click on this folder to open up all the fonts. This is just one font and just a few different thicknesses. If I hold down Shift, click on the bottom, hold down Shift, click on the top, I can select them all, right click, and then install. You'll see here it's already installed, but I'm simply going to replace it just for the sake of the video. It's going to run through and install all those fonts so that they're on my system. And now I can head back up and I can open up my Photoshop file to start editing. Okay, so now we're in and ready to go. But before I get started, one thing I want to point out is you're going to notice these blue guidelines here on the Facebook image. Now I'm just going to basically demonstrate to you why this is here so you can understand the way that these templates work going forward, because basically they don't look the same on multiple devices. So you can see here I've got my desktop Facebook on the left and a mobile phone version of Facebook on the right. Now you can see if I sort of darken things a little bit that the images are actually slightly different. The one on the right on the mobile is actually taller. As you can see, the black borders I've included in the design, but the one on the left is actually shorter, cutting off some of the image. So what I've done in this is to prevent this from happening, I've actually created an area where you keep your content within, which is between the two guidelines, so that when it crops on the mobile phone on the right, you don't lose any of the information that you've put into the design. So heading back into Photoshop, you're going to notice, so now I've got these lines here. What we want to do is make sure we don't put any information or imagery outside, so above or below these lines, because when they get cropped, then it's basically going to crop off the area above and below. But we still want to have some design elements bleeding off into that section, so that way when it does sort of go from device to device, it looks the same. Now it gets pretty easy from here. If I go here to my layers panel down the bottom, you see I've got some basic layers here. Now, if you don't have this layers panel, if you simply head to Windows and click on layers, if I click this, it'll turn it off. I can go to Windows and then to layers to turn that on if it's not already on, or if I've turned it off to turn it back on. So Windows and layers. You see I've got here edit, title underline, which is just this gray underline. And I've actually got here the YouTube and Instagram. I can turn those off if I want to. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this text tool on the left here, the little T icon, and I can simply click in here and start typing. So Creative Thicker is just a dummy name I've popped in there. Maybe you want to call it something else. Maybe you want to call it something like, blue room. Don't know what that would mean, but let's just say we're going with blue room. And I'm going to hit Control Enter. And they've changed the name of my page. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to edit, free transform, and I'm going to change the size of this text. Now, if it starts to warp a little like this, you want to hold down Shift, because sometimes it defaults to scaling proportionally, other times it doesn't. So if you want to keep it that way and it's not doing that, hold down Shift, or if you want to actually stretch it when it's already doing that, holding down Shift will basically toggle that on or off. But I'm going to keep that proportionally and just scale that up. And same with these points here. I can simply click and I can start typing. So I'm going to say here, we make music make videos, you love multimedia, I don't know, whatever you want to put in there. Buy our stuff. Not the most enticing list, but you get the idea. And then it's a simple matter of going through. Once again, I hit Control Enter, or I can go up top here to tick. And I'm going to go down here, type in Blue Room. If I decide that I don't want to use the YouTube emblem, I can simply get rid of it. But if I decide I want to keep YouTube and call it Blue Room, but I don't want the Instagram, over here there's an Instagram folder. I click the little eye icon there, same as I did with the YouTube one. I can actually click these arrows to fold them up. I click the little eye icon left to that to turn it off. And then I click on the YouTube folder. I go to my edit, free transform, and then I can just move this. If I hold down shift, it'll stop it from going up and down, or left and right. It'll keep it nice. It'll either be perfectly horizontal or vertical. I can move that to there. And we basically edited the text on here. Now, you'll see here, there's a few different things here. If you need to actually just select something, you can select the title, underline. I can select that, and then I can go back to free transform, under edit, free transform, and I can make that bigger if I want to, or I can move it around. I'm going to hit escape because I don't want to make it any bigger. But you see, I've actually edit title is here. If I click on that, I can then hit Control T, which is the free transform again, the same as going to edit, free transform, and I can play with that. The same thing, if I head down here, I've got the edit middle list. You'll see it's got edit in capitals. That means it's an editable layer. I click on that, edit, free transform, or Control T, and I can make that bigger if I want to. Okay, so what I've done here, you can, if you're brave enough, you can go through and change the color on these objects. I won't cover that in this video, but it'll be something for another video because basically the idea of this is just to alter the design to suit. But it's something you can do with your paint bucket tool by clicking this layer and picking a color. But that's the basically how you can do it. Now what we're going to do is, what if we don't like this image? Chances are you're not going to use this image. So I've actually got a section here where it says paste image here. So you can either go to File and Place, find your image and actually place it in that spot. Or if you happen to have a browser off to the side, you can right click and copy an image. And I can actually right click on this here, this layer where it says Paste Image here, go to Edit and Paste. And now I've got the image exactly in place. Now the image is a bit big at the moment, so again I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, and you'll see the bounding box is a bit big, so I'm going to just size this down until I'm happy with it. Now, one final thing, let's say I want to change the color of the text to something a bit blue. If I want to, I'm going to get my text tool again down here. I'm going to highlight the word room. I'm going to click on it, and I've got this little color picker here. I'm going to select a color over here, say this blue. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Click OK. Tick. And now I'm done. I've actually created my Facebook header image and I'm happy to go with it as is. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save this and apply it to my Facebook page. So I'm going to go to File, Export, and Save for Web. And that'll bring up this dialog box. I've actually got a second monitor this stuff keeps popping up on. But it'll bring up this dialog box and you'll be able to basically grab the zoom tool. You can hold down Alt and zoom out. But the idea is we want to choose a JPEG and we're going to try and make sure that the quality is good. If it's too low, the file size will be small, but if you zoom right in, you can see that the image is very choppy. So I want to get it up to about 50 or 60. It cleans it up a little bit. Still a little bit choppy, but if you zoom back out, you can't actually notice at the size. It actually still looks pretty clean, good to go. So 50 or 60 is a good way, a good sort of middle ground. I'm going to save this, so I've got it on JPEG, about 50 or 60, optimized, and I'm going to save that image. I'm going to save it here under light and white, click save. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my Facebook page, which actually has the original template on it. If I bring it over, And I'm going to change this cover here. So now I change it. I go to upload photo. So if I hover over that image, change cover, upload photo, I can select my image, hit open, and it'll pop up there. You can actually drag to reposition, but I've designed this in such a way so you don't have to do that. It should pop up central. If not, you can move it into position, but it should be right to go from there. I then click save over here, and you've got your Facebook header image ready to go. And so the other templates work in pretty much the same way, although there are a few minor differences. So I'll switch back to Photoshop now, just so we can have a look. Now this is one of the other ones. It's called Dark Scratch, and the other one here is called Grubby Photo. So basically the idea behind these ones, as before, if you get your little text modifier, you see you've got the title here. We can edit that if you want to. There's some bold and non-bold text there, so you can type something else in there, like image freak or something like that. The idea behind this one is to simply, it's more of a visual one, so if you want to, you can simply pop some images in there. And like I said, if you want to place a logo anywhere as well, you can go to File and Place, and just simply place that image on there. But let's say we've got an image that we want to pop in here. I'm going to basically copy and paste it from a web page. And the way this one here works is, I'll just do that for a sec so we can see those layers better. Scroll down to the layers here, you can see here we've got folders for middle image, right image, and left image. So if I want to replace this middle image first, I'm going to go to this middle image folder and click the little arrow down, and you see we've got a little layer that says paste image here. So if I highlight that image and just copy the image I want to use, so I'll right click over here off screen to copy this image, and I'm just going to go to edit and paste. The image lands there. I can zoom out a little bit and go to edit, free transform, and I can adjust that image. Now once again, like I said before, you can place the image instead, so you go to File, Place, and it'll have the same effect. As long as you click on this layer first, it should appear within this folder, and the way that works is it cuts off anything outside of this strip, so that way the strips remain pretty much in place and you're not going to sort of change the way they're lined up. So once again, if I go in, copy another image, this time I say I want to use the left, so I click on left, open that one up with the arrow, click on paste image here. I've right clicked and copied from my browser, and I'm going to go to edit and paste. And so again, if I hit Control T for free transform, which is the same as going here, I can resize and shift here. Now you notice before I zoomed in and out, something I didn't think about until just now, is you can simply use your zoom tool here to zoom in, or click up here to zoom out. What I tend to do is I tend to actually just go back here, just click another tool. So I tend to just hold Alt on my keyboard and use my mouse wheel. So just holding Alt, scrolling back and forth on the mouse wheel does that. So once again, I'm going to copy a third image in here just so we can have a look. So I'll copy this image. So I've got my right image folder here, right image. I click the little arrow, paste image here, and I paste that image in place. Control T for free transform, and I pop that in there. So we've got 3 different images now that we can use and save that for. So yeah, it's a pretty handy tool there. So that one's pretty simple. The way that works, if you click the little arrows next to these folders, see we've got this overlay here. I can actually turn that off if I want to remove the overlay and just have the stark images. I'll keep that overlay turned on. This has got the little paintbrush here. We can turn that on or off. We've got our title, which is actually in a group as well. But yeah, we've got these nice little folders here that we can go through. We can turn them off, turn them on, and basically open them up, paste our images in, and go from there. So that's how you edit that one there. And the similar with this other one over here called Dark Scratch. If I open that one up over here, once again, you can see the guidelines. As before, I click, after I've installed the fonts, I can change the text. Big town streets. Cut through the traffic. So I can go through and edit as I did before. Pretty much the same setup as before. I've got my YouTube and Instagram folders here I can play with. Now, if I go into paste image here, I can actually replace this entire image, and it will actually have that same effect where we've got the dark blue, all the streets looking a certain way. So I'll just go off screen again, find another image. So let's say I've got another image here, which I will paste. Copy that image. Now, first of all, I'm going to paste this image show you this image so you can see what it looks like. So this is the image here. It's a full color image. As you can see, it's not dark. There's nothing about it that matches up with the same style as before. I'm just going to go to undo. Well, actually, I'm going to just turn that layer off for now. If I scroll back down and click on the paste image here and paste that in place there, you see it actually has that effect. So I'll zoom out, holding down Alt and the mouse wheel, and I can make my adjustments, and we keep that same appearance. So that way you can keep it nice and dark. It's probably not the best photo to try it on. A photo with a lot of, with something with a lot of detail in it can be good, or something simpler. So if I copy another image, I can paste over the top of this one, so it'll create a new layer. And I can paste this one in here, move it up, and we've got a guy using his glasses. So you can paste images in there quite easily, change them around, and get a completely different effect. So that's pretty much how that works. We can go through, click on the edit title, and we can move that one. So we've got title copy, which is underneath, and the title, which is above. Move these around. If I want to, I can actually hit enter, put them on two separate lines. So I can make way for the face. So you can pretty much alter these as much as you want. If you know Photoshop, it's definitely going to be a bit easier, but this is just a cool little way to get started. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, please give the video a like. If you want more like this, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, I hope to see you again next time, and yeah, go from there. All right, have a good day. See you later.